Brilliant. Right, guys. Thank you very, very much for attending. So the point of this really webinar is just to explain who the recruitment experts are and why we have designed this for specifically recruiters to be able to earn the maximum amount, give the best service possible, but also on top of that, we're also here just to explain how that's actually going to work in practical terms. So a couple of things that we're going to be talking about in the webinar is who we are and what we do at the moment and where we want to be, why we decided to set up the company, how much you can earn working in one of these roles, is it right for you, and how does the model work in terms of, compliance and things like that, and how you become a recruiter and the steps forwards from here. So let's just move this forward. So I think probably one of the most important things is to understand who we are and where we came from and why we set up. So the company is set up from someone and founded by Sean Newman. If you guys don't know who Sean Newman is, he's probably one of the biggest property people in the industry, and he owns loads of different companies within the property industry, and he is absolutely fantastic in what he does, and he's always looking to expand that and grow it out. I was lucky enough to have a chat with Sean, and we were really, really lucky to go through a process where we said, right, okay, we have all of these internal companies. So he owns, I believe, 6 now. And these 6 companies, he said, look, I need people and I want to grow these businesses. And I need someone to recruit for them, which is where I came in. So I came in kind of in December, late 2022. I come from a background of property recruitment, but I also come from a property industry background, sales background mostly, and have been working in the sales for like the last 10 years. So what we do at the moment is we specialize within property recruitment. So it's a pretty niche area, but we are looking to expand that further into different areas. So a good example of this is Lewis that's on with us now. Lewis will be talking and is headed up the external recruitment for us for all of the kind of external brands, which we'll go through later. He comes from a property background, but he's gone into recruitment and, he loves it. And I think that really we kind of want to start with the property industry, which we know, and kind of push our way outwards. We decided that the best way to move forward with this is that rather than there's a bit of a mentality in the UK, which is very generic recruitment. Every recruiter is the same. So what we really need to do is build a personal branded recruiter, which, has something about them that is different to what you may have before. And I think that it's really, really important that we actually have a personal branded person rather than just any other recruiter. Now, just a quick one for you guys. If you have any questions, question and answer box, you feel free to drop in at any time. I will try and get around to them as quick as possible, but there is a lot. So we'll try and answer any questions at the end. So our aim really as the recruitment experts is to become the biggest recruitment company within the next 5 years, which is a massive task. And I think the most important aspect of that is to really get good people in. And I think that we really need to start from a base foundation by telling people what we do, because I believe, and I'm sure Lewis wouldn't have joined unless we thought we had the absolute best model. And so I think that's massively important. So let's shift onto here. There we go. So another massive, really kind of big question is, why did we set up? The reason that we set up is because as a recruiter, I was so fed up of this, what's different between you and any other agent? What's the difference between you and, Joe Bloggs down the road? And I think that in a lot of industries, this can be applied to, but I think one of the biggest ones is for us, which is we need to raise the standards of recruitment in the UK. I've heard so many times that it is, well, and you're just a recruiter. I can go, you're a dime a dozen. I can go find another one. I mean, Lewis, you must have heard this loads of times.
There's a bad rep for recruiters, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that actually, I'm a fantastic recruiter, and I will do 10 times the amount that the next person will. And so, really, you need to one, be able to have a personal branded agent to start with that. But two, you need to be able to explain why you're different, because a lot of the time you're not. So I think that raising the standard is really, really important. And not only that when you raise the standard, you'll raise the standard of quality for both the candidate experience, but also the client experience as well, which again then starts building everything. The model that we've kind of made, me and Sean have talked about a lot, and me and Lewis have talked about a lot. And really, we wanted to give a model that was designed to increase the earnings of the recruiter, because ultimately that's going to attract the top recruiters. But also we wanted something that was flexible. We wanted something that, can offer support when's needed, but also not have to pigeonhole someone. And, again, Lewis, you would have experienced this. I've experienced this personally, being micromanaged and being looked over your shoulder. How many calls have you made a day? How many people have you spoken to? I know that I'm a really good recruiter and I don't need to be micromanaged. And so I wanted to design a platform that represented that, and really we could kind of excel in what we were going to do from there. So our model is literally designed to give the candidate, the client, a better experience, for the recruiter to earn more money, to have better flexibility. I think that post-COVID, everyone has realized that the Monday to Friday 9 till 5 job, one, isn't cracked up to what it was a couple of years ago, but also, people need flexibility. You might, want to go out and walk the dog in the afternoon. And so that was massively important to me personally. So the next thing was, I don't think that recruiters get enough training. I don't think they get enough mentoring. I've seen fantastic recruiters that haven't made it within the industry, and simply because they haven't had good enough training, which is really hard, because recruitment is a really different beast, and anyone that works in recruitment will know this, that it can be really difficult. So what we wanted to do is provide a platform. And so the reason that we set up was to provide better training, to provide better mentoring, to provide support and tools that you potentially couldn't get outside of this industry at the moment. And so really, ultimately, all that does is feed back in to be able to help you place more candidates, better quality candidates, and that all feeds back into giving a better service. And again, like, this kind of links into, raising the standard, and that's challenging the norm. We are after people that can think outside the box. We are after people who, want to challenge. I've seen some massively creative ideas that have been shut down because they don't conform within that brand guideline. And actually, I want really people to think out of the box. So that is a massive reason as well. We want to give these recruiters flexibility to do what they think is a great idea and what would work for them. So let's flick onto this. So within our recruitment experts model, we have two different sides. We've got the internal, which mostly that I handle, but I oversee the external. And then you've got Lewis, who handles the day-to-day, everyday stuff, and all the hard work for the external. So what we're going to do is break it up into two parts, because you might want to join internal or you might want to join external. It really depends on your experience levels and how you want to work with that. So we talked about, and really briefly, about core brands. So we are very, very lucky to partner with Sean Newman, who is the founder, and he has 6 brands in total. There is another brand coming, which is a exciting proposition. But essentially, so what we have is we have 6 core brands. They span within the property industry. They are fantastic in what they do. So some of you guys would have heard of Fine and Country. There is also the auction company. So we have access to auctions. We also have access to two property industry people, obviously being Fine and Country and the Property Experts. And we are very, very lucky. And if you guys are around, is we are just about to launch the Lettings Experts as well. And there is one more in the pipeline, which I will divulge at a later date. So if you're deciding who to go with, there's really kind of, we've tried to make it as clear as possible in which path you should take. And it really depends on your experience level and your kind of earning requirements and things like that. So typically what will happen is if you would specialize into one of these companies. So a good example is if you were to specialize into the Property Experts, you would learn that model inside and out. You'll learn and you'll sit down with the managing director of that company and sit down and learn every single thing about that brand. And what that allows you to do is become a specialist, an expert. There you go, linking it all back. This is great. And what we want is for you to know every single question that that person would ever ask, which is fantastic and will allow you to be able to become a specialist and essentially place more people. But also we've all come across questions where we go, oh, don't know the answer, but I'll go find out for you. That'll never happen within there because the training and the ability to teach people is amazing. The second part of that is that actually, you know, you might work for the Property Experts, but you'll actually be able to find someone that might work for the Lettings Experts, and you're able to pass that over and earn off of that as well. So although you're part of one core brand, you have access to another 5. Now, that obviously will help your earning potential. Some of these companies are super well established. Some of them are the absolute up and comers and will, we're talking about the Auction Experts, which is the best auction model in the UK. We're talking about the Mortgage Experts, which offers more support, the best fees in the UK, and the Property Experts, formerly known as Newman Property Experts, has been running over 35 years with self-employed agents over 20 years, which is absolutely amazing to see. And Fine and Country obviously talks for itself. And the Lettings Experts, I'm so excited about. So again, guys, if you are interested in this model and you want to learn more about the internal ones, we can go more into specifics. If you want to book into a one-on-one chat, that's absolutely fine. So let's flip on to the next one. So you guys are probably interested in how the model works. How do I place people? What can I earn from this, from the internal side? So our recruiters are self-employed. The reason that they're self-employed is really important. One, because we want to be able to give the best earnings. And ultimately, when you sit down and look at the figures, me and Sean talked about this, me and Lewis have talked about this. What's the best way of them earning money? I've been a self-employed recruiter for a long time. I wouldn't go employed if you paid me £500,000 a year, because ultimately what I want is I want to be able to have a flexible lifestyle. For me personally, I've just had a little baby, which is really important to me. To be able to take breaks and not have people looking over my shoulder is massively important. And 2, I want to be my own boss. I am a fantastic recruiter. I want to work sometimes I'll work at 7 o'clock at night, but other times I want to take the afternoon off. And so to be able to have that flexibility, the only way to do that was self-employed. And 2, because you're earned potentially some of the best money in the industry, the tax threshold becomes really important. And I felt this personal barrier, and it can be really frustrating as a employed member of staff to have 40% of your income taken away from you. And so to have that flexibility with a self-employed model is massive. We provide our roles nationally. So the next point is that you're not confined to an area with an internal recruitment. You can, if you're working for that brand, you can cover the whole of the UK, which is fantastic. And also you work with the managing director. So typically what I say about the benefits about being an internal recruiter is the process that we have on board. We have one of the best ATS systems and applicant tracking systems in the UK. We have automated processes. We can go directly to a owner of a business, I mean, Lewis, how many times have we sat here and sat there waiting for someone to come back to us and we go, this is an absolute deal, but they won't even email us back?
Yeah, frustrating. Yeah.
It's so frustrating. So because you work directly one-on-one with the managing director, one, you learn what kind of people you're looking for. Two, you'll obviously learn the model, which is massively important. And three, what ends up happening is you build a relationship. And so you go to the managing director of that company, I'll go, got someone, and they go, yeah, book them in. That's the whole process. You don't have to send them a CV. You don't have to sit there waiting. It's a volume-based process. It's much easier. And typically we find that moving on to the next point is that actually you'll have more access of portals because you're a part of an internal team. So what I mean by that is typically if you're a recruiter, you'll have job adverts out, you do a bit of headhunting, you know, you might do the occasional event if you're really lucky. It's very, very rare. So for us, we actually get access to a lot more and a broader scope of incoming leads, but also your headhunting on top of. So you'll obviously have your job adverts, you'll have website inquiries. So all of these companies have a website, which again, you'll be surprised about the amount of incoming inquiries, which is massive. We hold social events. So if you're the kind of person who wants to get, you know, out of your house because you're working from home, and, you know, go and meet people and speak to people, you know, there's recruitment events and things like that that are massive. Obviously, you still do your headhunting, but we hold live webinars as well, just like we're doing now. And we hold them for all of the brands to be able to expose and really get, you know, interested people coming to us, which is massive. You know, some of the times we're holding over 100, 200 people on these webinars. And, you know, a lot of these people are working within the industry already, which is massive. And, you know, you'll have your typical search engines, which you can go and find people from, you know, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Reed, or whatever it might be. So I typically find that there's a lot wider exposure, which ultimately helps you. And, you know, some of these brands are super recognized and some of them are massive up and comers, which makes them really desirable. And you'll get so many people inquiring, which is great. And this is a long old paragraph. I don't know. Oh, okay, fine. Something else as well that recruiters worry about is roles. And I think that when you worry about roles, you end up worrying so much about the roles that your recruitment takes a knock. So just think about this. They are guaranteed roles all the time. You never have to worry about how many roles you'll have at any one time. And ultimately, because you can recruit anywhere in the UK, if you pick up someone that's interested, it doesn't matter where they're located. Typically, I've found people that are amazing and they're in Manchester and I've got nothing for them. I found someone in London, I can't do anything with them because I've not got any companies that are looking for that kind of person at the moment. And that can be really frustrating. What is worth mentioning, actually, I believe it is on the next slide, is that let's say that you find someone and you join one of the roles. Now, what's fantastic is that all of our roles follow a very, very similar threshold, and that is that they're self-employed roles for internally. And, you know, we're seeing masses amount, you know, 10, 15 people joining on induction courses. But let's say that you found someone that's amazing. You can't do anything with that person because they just don't want to be self-employed, because self-employed isn't right for everyone. You know, it's there for the people that are willing to push the boundaries of what they can do. Well, actually, you know, we'll come on to this later, but actually we're going to have a external team that are going to be able to help us with that. And, you know, you might come to Lewis and say, look, I found someone amazing in Birmingham, but I can't do anything with them. And you go, no problem. I've got a role here, here, and here. And you guys will work together and you'll be able to actually work out between yourselves what the kind of correct split is, and essentially be able to earn some money off of that incoming as well. So how much can you earn? So typically what we find is for the internal teams, they'll actually place more volume because obviously they have things like incoming leads every month, and they'll also do their own headhunting on top of that. So typically we would expect someone to earn, you know, 3, 4, 5 placements a month, which is great. And for every placement that you make, you'll earn £1,000. So we've got some examples down here, 3 deals, obviously £3,000. The one that surprised me the most is that, how many jobs as recruiters are capped at £60,000. There is, I can count on less than my hand how many jobs actually make £60,000. They claim that it's 60, but you walk out of 35 and feel disappointed. Well, here it is in black and white. 5 deals, you'll earn £5,000 a month, £60,000 a year. And not only that, any other candidates that you can't place that don't want to be self-employed, well, actually, you can put them into the external team and they can do something with it, which you'll learn from as well. So realistically, I see this job, you should be, if you're a fantastic recruiter and with our training that we're able to give, there's nothing stopping you earning £60,000-70,000 a year, which, I mean, for me, sounds amazing. So I think that's about it for me. So Lewis, I'll probably let you speak now. Sorry, I've been.
Yeah, that's me. So, no, thanks for joining us today, guys. I think that's a little bit about my background. I mean, I joined here at the start of the month, actually, so it's not been too long. It's been quite a busy couple of weeks just setting everything up. But yeah, prior to this, I sort of started, I suppose, in the industry doing a bit of marketing for some property investment companies. I then went to work for a big estate agent for 2 years. Then did recruitment for a further 2 years, and here I am. So yeah, just a bit of a flick through for external, really, guys. I've tried not to make it too boring. I think what I've tried to do is put myself in your shoes. If you're sort of sat there now at home, what would I want to know in these 15-20 minutes that we're going to run through this? So yeah, a couple of sort of points here for us. First of which really is what do we actually recruit for? What's the Recruitment Experts external team looking at? So right now we do everything in the property industry, and that sounds like it would just be estate agents or letting agents, but we do everything that sort of falls under that. So whether that's new homes, prop tech, which is a really exciting sort of industry to recruit for, conveyancing, mortgage, etc., etc. And perhaps worth noting as well, in the future we do plan to expand this model into different industries. So, we currently just do property, but perhaps we open up an automotive side of things. So if progression is your kind of thing and you want a self-employed model with that, then, there's chance to oversee a department and earn from your team, etc. So if that's your sort of thing. So that is who we're recruiting for at the moment, but certainly big plans in the future.
I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so
right.
James.
Sorry, I've just realised I've got control of it. Sorry about
that. Yeah. So a little bit on how we recruit, and for any recruiters on here, I'm hopefully not teaching you to suck eggs here, but for perhaps there's property people out there, just give you a bit of an insight. And we do a few bits and bobs different perhaps to your conventional company. So yeah, I think I already mentioned, but we're now up and running. We are recruiting, and the past few weeks for me and James is absolute headache, but worth it in the end. We spent heaps of time looking into what the best version of every single tool is, everything that a recruiter is going to use on a day-to-day basis. What's the best version of that? Which I like to think we've now come to. So yeah, like any recruitment business, we do the proactive and the reactive, and we try to maximize on both sides. So job adverts and headhunting. But perhaps unlike, again, any other recruitment agency, we have confidently the best software for the job. So just in terms of your sort of reactive stuff, job adverts, we're now signed up to the highest rated recruitment ATS or CRM out there at the moment. Really, really good features just to make your life as a recruiter 10 times easier. And one, linking back to job adverts, one key selling point for us was that you upload the job to the system like you would, and absolutely free, completely automatic. Every single job that you upload will go on to over 5 job boards, which includes total jobs, which, for any recruiters, again, is one of the bigger ones out there. Also with exposure to Google. So let's say you've not just gone into Indeed to look for a job, you've actually just jumped on Google and you typed for a property manager in Milton Keynes. Our job should there be coming up on Google, which is, absolutely brilliant. At the moment, our sort of go-to, I suppose, external platform for the external team is Reed. So we advertise all our jobs on Reed, one of the top 3 sort of job boards, etc., out there at the moment in the UK. And of course, me and James are just in chats at the moment, just to look at a second one, just to get a bit more coverage on there and get some more leads into you, really. So yeah, in terms of getting exposure to jobs, we like to think we've got that side of things covered. And then again, on the proactive side, so CV searching, headhunting, this is where most recruiters are spending 90% of their time. So yeah, alongside an ATS that just makes an absolute breeze recruiting, we provide access to the Reed CV search, which again, for any recruiters, probably the most user-friendly one out there, the one that you can get through CVs and sort of in the quickest time and get some good quality. We encourage recruiters to use LinkedIn to headhunt candidates, which again, you can do absolutely free. There is a premium option as well, which unlocks a few other doors, but I think a third of my placement probably last year was through LinkedIn. So really underrated bit of kit that absolutely we encourage. But yeah, again on this, in terms of how we recruit, we're also looking at just one more search platform at the moment, weighing up a couple of options at the moment. Just again, the worst thing as a recruiter is when you hit a brick wall, you've exhausted LinkedIn, you've exhausted Reed, and you're now on Facebook, hopelessly looking. So again, just trying to get something else there for everyone to to jump on. So you've always got something to go at. So that's really how we recruit.
I think it's really safe to say as well that we probably provide more exposure as a recruiter than any other company out there currently, because not only do we show the maximum amount of portals, but also we're super flexible in what we do. So if something's not working, we'll look at that and change it and adapt. And I don't think enough companies are doing that out there. And for the recruiters that are doing this at the moment, that are smashing their head against the wall, it doesn't need to be like that. We will teach you and show you other avenues, which is, over the last couple of years, I've realized that you don't have to sit on Reed for 90 hours or, 90 hours a day and feel like you're not getting anywhere. There is other avenues that aren't being explored that actually have great benefits. And something that me and Lewis are constantly looking at, and bleeding edge of technology is really, really important to be at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's me. Sorry.
It's James.
I'm a rubbish host. Sorry about this.
So this is sort of, I'll fly through this. It's sort of recapping the internal model, so that to some extent, but again, for external, very, very similar model to your internal sort of role. Your own boss, you do the hours you want, and all of it's from home. If you fancy an office, crack on, no problem at all. But sort of working where you want to, where you need to work from. And then this is probably more relevant for external, but you decide exactly which clients you're recruiting for, which fee you're charging them. We've got terms of business. You can quite simply load all of that up. You change one figure on the fee percentage, and that can be sent right out. So that's dead easy. Again, with external, a little bit different to internal. Internal, you've got sort of hundreds of roles sat there ready for you to go. With external, this is your chance to sort of set up exactly who you're working for and who you want to recruit for, and what you believe in, etc. So initially, we can provide you with a couple of roles to work on, a couple of clients. That's just so that when you're in the phase of a week or two of signing terms and bringing new clients on, you've got something to go at. And perhaps worth mentioning as well, guys, and it might be obvious, but I think that the huge selling point with us, when especially when I've always pitched to clients, estate agents, etc., as a self-employed recruiter, is that I'm self-employed. I can't sit back waiting for a basic salary to come through. I am I need to, and of course I want to, find you the best candidates as quickly as possible. And the estate agents, property industry people, they love that you're going to be proactive. You have to be proactive. So it's a really good selling point. It makes that pitch a little bit easier as well.
I think what's important as well is that yes, we will provide you roles to start with, to help you on your journey. Because I know a lot of agents, other kind of recruitment companies don't do that. And it's like, well, how do you start? And because, if you're newer into the industry, what makes a good recruiter? What makes a bad recruiter? But also, what makes a good company to recruit for? And what makes a bad company? So we'll provide you with, roles to start with. And then as a personal branded agent, you're going to decide who you want to work with after that. So we're going to help develop you and your training, but also we're going to say, look, here's some companies, see what you think, because you might, and something that's worth bearing in mind, I don't think it's on here, is that there's no postcode restrictions, there's no cap on area. You can work anywhere in the UK, and if you find that you work best in Birmingham but you struggle with Manchester, you work in Birmingham, that's fine, and we'll help develop you and provide you with the tools that are needed to get them clients. And ultimately, we're going to help push you to be able to develop your personal brand rather than shoving, other brands down your throat, which is really massive.
Absolutely. And it's similar perhaps to the property experts in that if you want to work like a exclusive end of the market, for example, let's say you're going to sign up your Stratton Parkers, your Savills, etc., and do recruitment for them, instead of needing to do 3, 4, 5 placements, you do 1 or 2 placements and you're earning the same, if not more money. So, back to exactly how you want it. But so moving on, I think morning meetings, KPIs, micromanagement, nothing that you're sort of going to see with us is the worst thing, like James has said, having looked over your shoulder, etc. And again, with the model, any support that you need, whether that's training on the technical side or best recruitment practices, and worth mentioning as well, anyone that's no good with tech, our system's brilliant. There's a help video for absolutely anything you could imagine doing. So anything like that's really good for. But again, with support, even if it's tying up a deal, me and James, I suppose we like to think is now that we can help there if needs be. So pick up the phone to me and James whenever's needed. We're always there to help. And especially, for internal guys, you've got your managing director with really close contact. So, and then the sort of the boring side of things, you can set up however you want, sole trader, partnership, limited company, you'll effectively act as a subcontractor for the recruitment experts. So that is the model in a nutshell.
Well, there's something to say as well. I mean, recruitment is a bit of an overlooked sector at the moment, or I suppose I'll say overlooked, but in terms of like compliance stuff, actually, you just got to be self-employed, because essentially, if you think about it, we're just a referral service. So, when a lot of people think that, you need a lot of compliance and stuff like that, no, actually, we as a company take on most of the weight of all of that stuff, and actually you're just a subcontractor within the company. Yeah,
absolutely. And guys, moving on to how much you can earn, probably the bit that we're all sort of interested to see. So me and James will bust head on this until the day we die. But internal versus external. I think, like James mentioned, internal is probably a bit easier on filling. But with external is the money can be amazing. So just to give you a rough idea, your earnings will come directly from the fee that you charge for placing candidates. So the fee that your estate agents, your clients are going to pay you for those placements. Within property, my average fee at least was around 3,300 for the past year or two, but let's call it 3 to make it simple for argument's sake. And we charge the client solely on the basic salary of the position that's been filled. It just removes all of the hassle of an OTE, car allowance, and that's kind of the industry standard anyway. So to give you an example, let's say we place a valuer at a basic salary of £25,000. You charge a 12% fee. The fee total comes to £3,000, and the best bit is that every placement you do for external, you keep 70% of that fee, which is huge. Any recruiters on here, I
don't know any other company that allows that.
Exactly. I mean, if you're doing 1 deal a month, you're already earning more than 80-90% of employed recruiters, and especially with self-employed recruiters. They tend to be, I remember I started on 40%, and then I had to find my way to get up to 50%, and that was almost deemed quite high at the time as well. So, so you let's say we're working on a £3,000 average fee, you're getting 70% of each placement, that will net you £2,100. And then below we've got some examples just to give you an idea, but let's say, I think any good recruiter is doing 3 deals a month, that's 75 grand a year. You've had some better months, etc. Where you're consistent. This is 150 grand a year, which is really impressive.
Something that's crazy to think as well is this based on an average fee. So for example, when I went into recruitment, I ended up falling into block management, where the average fee wasn't 3,000; it was between £5,000 and £6,000. And so, as you become more established within the area, actually it becomes easier to be able to justify them fees, but also be able to get better fees as well. So, we're basing this off 3 deals, for example, and £75,000 on an average fee, which is insane. I would have torn off your arm for that a couple of years ago. And something that's worth mentioning is that a lot of people will be asking how we're able to give such a high percentage. And actually that all comes back into, and this was something that Lewis brought up to me, which I completely forgot to tell people about, which is we're able to do this because actually we had all of the CRM systems in place. We had all of the, the read adverts and everything live for the internal companies. There is no other company that I know of in the UK that are doing both internal and external recruitment. We are the most unique proposition that's out there. Now, just coming back into this, so I've just had a couple of questions through, and I think we'll probably try and answer these now whilst I'm talking. So let's just have a look. A big concern is surviving with no basic. Is there anything stopping us from working for a month and they're still in current employment? Typically what we say, guys, is that this is a life-changing job. This will change your life forever. But ultimately, if you will need maybe a month or two savings. Realistically, if you're a good recruiter, it doesn't take very long. If you're interested in the model though, and you want to have a chat with us one-to-one on this, then we'll work with you to see what works best. But ultimately, working for another company won't work. And the reason I say that is because you'll end up giving 50% to them and 50% to us, and you'll lose out on both. And I've seen it before where recruiters come in and they're part-time, and then clients get angry because they're not getting the service that they needed. And one of the best things about our model is that you feel accountable for them clients, because not only are you because you're in charge of them, but also because you want to earn the best money possible. So without that, it kind of takes away the main benefit of that. But if you are interested, then come to us, talk to us, and we'll work out something that works well for all of us, and and really kind of get you on board. And the next question is that how will ownership on big accounts work, which is always a good question. There's massive clients out there, and at the moment, as we grow as a company, we may, we'll look at different things that work. But ultimately, if you sign up the big clients, then you're your clients. But what we want is maximum exposure for them roles. Ultimately, if you get a massive client like Spice of Heart or Dexter's or Hamptons or something like that, you're not going to be able to handle that count alone. And so there's something that, you've got to say, right, well, to give the best possible exposure and to keep this client happy, then maybe I'll give this role over to someone, and maybe I'll take a percentage of that if I give over the role and they fill it. So we'll always say, look, try and keep clients happy. That's the main aim of the game. And Lewis, we've had this, you've signed up massive clients, I've signed up massive clients, and I've gone, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Roles will never be the problem. If you're a good recruiter, you don't want any more than 20 or 30 roles. It's just too many. You're not going to be able to get the exposure. And especially with property, you're better off having 15, 20, 25 roles and filling them than upsetting clients because you've got 60, 70 roles and you can't fill them. So, what we're trying to say is that if you manage to sign a great client, then fantastic. And not only we'll judge that, how that works out, but it'll always work in the benefit of you as the client signer.
I think, yeah, absolutely. There will be support there for you. And yes, you've brought this client on board and you're here dishing out roles to other recruiters, then yeah, there'll be some money to be made for yourself there as well. So yeah, good question.
Yeah, great question. Love that. I can't believe that though. 5 deals. I mean, I remember doing 5 deals and £126,000 a year. That is insane.
I think, James, you've beat me to it on this one.
Sorry.
Stole me thunder. Yeah, you've already said it, but effectively, we're trying to avoid sort of all the corporate nonsense, all the glossy titles, all the glossy reasons, etc. Like James has said, our secret ingredient is that we have got all of the expenses of a recruitment business already, being utilized effectively by internal. So it's cost us not nothing, but very little in comparison to the competition to actually run an external team. What does that mean for you? It means that we can pay you a lot more effectively. And then reasons, this is probably me going on to the glossy stuff, to be honest, but we've said this 10 times over: full support, pick up the phone whenever you need, and we'll get you up to speed as soon as possible. Great marketing, so day one you'll get a marketing pack through which cover all your LinkedIn, your emails, again, all sort of the nice bits and bobs to make your jobs look nice, and other bits and bobs there as well. And again, like I say, from day one, we provide everything you need to be the best recruiter out there, whether that's systems, advice, training, access, etc., etc. All the flexibility of working from home.
Yeah, I think that, ultimately, a lot of these people that are coming into this industry or, have worked in this industry, I was shocked when I joined this company about how much I didn't know, because what's made me a better recruiter overall is actually seeing it from a business side. And, something that we can provide training on is, look, what do your clients look for? What are you looking to achieve? What are they looking to achieve? And we can really give kind of a unique perspective, but also be able to help you maximize your income using that, which ultimately, as much as we say we all love recruitment, we do it because we want to earn better money. There's no other model in the UK that's offering you 126,000 or whatever it was, for 5 placements. And so, but to do that, we're going to sit down and work with you one-to-one. We're going to offer some of the best training that there is. And there we go. Just on answer this question. No, you don't need experience. We'll look at anyone who is willing to put in the hard work, because, recruitment, I love recruitment, but if anyone was asked me, is it easy? No, it's not. It's tough. But what we can do is we can provide you with such strong training and show you the way. All we ask is that you to be able to put yourself out there and really go at everything. You don't leave anything on the table, and we'll show you how to make money. We'll get your phone ringing. We'll have we'll have clients for you and all these kind of things. And really, what we would do is anyone that's interested is we'll sit down and work out a one-to-one call with that works out, well, where do you best fit within this company and how will you make the most money for you personally? We've got multiple people joining us at the moment, and really this is just to put out our model even further. So, do you need experience? No, you just need a great attitude, something about you, and really being able to throw everything at it. Because some of the best recruiters that I've seen have had no experience. So, I think that's massive. So, guys, look, I think if you guys have any questions now, now would be the best time to ask them. If you don't, I'll just leave our contact details up here. So feel free to grab a screenshot or whatever you need to do. Feel free to get in touch with either me or Lewis. Just had a question in here. So in terms of compliance, guys, someone's asked in what you need. So the only things you need to be is a sole trader or a limited business. And what's the process from here? So take down our number, take down the email, whatever works best for you. Pick up the phone, have a chat with us, drop us a text. That's absolutely fine. We can have a one-to-one. We can talk about it if it will work for you. We work with everyone individually. No person's the same. And so, there's no pressure against this. If you want to have a chat just to discover more about it, that's absolutely fine. And what we can do is we can sit down and work out the best plan of action. But essentially, we just want you to reach out and really talk. And someone's typed. Oh, there we go. On the right count. That's a good question. So in terms of timelines and invoicing and stuff, so essentially what this person is asking us, how long will something take? I've seen recruiters bank before they've even joined the company and had money waiting when they joined, and I've had people that have taken 3 to 4 months. What I would say is if you were to join on day one and you were to work really, really hard, you can bank anyone between, you know, let's say 1 and 2 weeks, up to 4 weeks maybe is usually when someone gets their first placement. Then you have to wait for a notice period for that person if you're external. So if you're an external placement, let's say you place someone on the 12th, they might not start until the start of that month or mid that month, that you would invoice for the end. So in terms of timelines, that's usually around 2 to 3 months of invoicing time. And again, we'll work with you on that and kind of make sure that that's all correct. In terms
and
of
worth mentioning as well, James, sorry, that with external, most of our payment terms are 7 days. So, you know, let's say this is obviously best case hypothetical, but you place someone not currently in work, you place them, they start in 2 days' time, you invoice in 7 days' time, and you know that's sort of come through. So you've got a paycheck for the month there already.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it can happen super quick. Ultimately, I would say as a guideline, always take 2 to 3 months. In terms of the internal stuff, what I would always say is that can actually happen a bit quicker. So it can be usually 1 to 2 months. You know, I've just had 2 new starters, and I think they've probably got 2 deals each. So again, there's a little bit of speed that's added there, but it really depends on the person. But again, like I say, it's an individual basis. We'll always work with you on that. Cool. I think that's about it, guys. So yeah, look, feel free to reach out if you need anything else. You know, we're only a phone call away, but really appreciate everyone attending. And yeah, if you've got any more questions, then just give us a call. Thank you very much, Lewis, and I'll close out now. Cheers, guys.
Lovely. Cheers, guys. Have a good evening.